So, anyone please tell me what was the last topic we was discussing? Then accordingly I will start this. I think the classical theory and the Keynesian theory, the basic one that I think I discussed in your last class. Or you please tell me what was the topic that I covered. It's a long time. Just any one of you? Am I audible now? Audible to all of you. Please respond here. I'm waiting for your reply. I'm not receiving a response from you, dear. Okay, fine. My audible is fine, but tell me the last topic at least so that I can connect from that. Let me check. So production tax, product tax that I discussed with you. Okay, fine. It's audible. Hmm. Mathematically, GDP since 2015, economic growth rate. Last we did production, product, subsidy. Fine. Fine, I got it. Fine, clear. So basically, till your last class, we have discussed the basic of that, and also I discussed the different methods we are using to calculate or estimate the GDP. Fine. Productions, expenditure, and the income method. That things we have discussed with you, and also we discussed the new changes made for estimation of the GDP in India. Like now the growth rate is defined as GDP at market price, and simply the government saying that it is due to the international practice, what the international practice is going on, with other countries defining growth rate at GDP at market price. So we also adopted. So today we measure growth rate at GDP at market price. Clear? I think that point we ended it. Now, just I'm starting from that. So GDP. In 1 second. Okay, fine. No, Blake, I think is fine. Fine, no issue. But I want thinner one. बहुत मोटा हो रहा है ये. Fine, dear. So in expenditure method, GDP expenditure method, if you are just going, I mean, just to look this method. So we discussed with you कि GDP at market price, we are getting from after adding C plus I plus G plus X minus M. You remember this? Okay. And here we discussed C is the consumption expenditure. Okay, C represents the total expenditure incurred by the households. Okay, on final goods and services for consumption purpose. That the meaning of C. I we discussed it is the gross investments that's invested by the investors in the country. Gross investments, it includes the fixed capital formations plus change in stock. Simply and similarly, G is the government expenditure, means this much of expenditure incurred by the government on goods and services. And X minus M, we referred it NX. NX is stand for net export. Net export. Okay. And net exports, it's this much amount of net amount of domestically produced goods and services is demanded by the foreigners. Clear? So just you think the expenditure method, then you are getting one thing. Out of the total goods and services, expenditure method means you are seeing the output, total output produced in the country. Okay, from expenditure side. Expenditure side means if I am demanding, I'm spending on something, it simply means I am demanding that much of goods and services. Clear? So just you assume that, not assume, just you think about it. This much of goods and services demanded by the households, this much of goods and services demanded by investors, this much of goods and services demanded by the government, and it is a net goods and services domestically produced is demanded by the foreigners, that is the rest of the world. Okay, that day you remember I discussed with you why we are subtracting M. So we are subtracting M, that is imports, because our motive is to calculate the domestic output. Okay, so some part consumers are demanding the imported goods, some part investor demanding for investment purpose. Imported goods I'm talking about. Government also demands some goods and services for, I mean, for like your defense sector you take, government demands some imported product for defense sector, for public administration. So they also demand. So we are not subtracted the individually. For that we have considered together, and we are saying aim is the total demand of output. That is, we import it but used by the households, government, investors, and we put together in the form of M. M is the imports of our country. So when you're subtracting imports, it means the whole terms, if you add it, then you are getting the aggregate demand also. So same identity, it is not equation, it is known as the identity. So the same thing, see, we can also write it is nothing but it represents aggregate demand. Aggregate demand equal to C plus I plus G plus NX. NX means net export. Clear? And remember why it's important, because you understand, I will just let you. So it's very important. AD here we are writing, AD means it is the aggregate demand. It is the aggregate demand for domestic goods. Domestically, you just write like this, it's domestically produced goods and services. Okay, So here AD represents the aggregate demand for domestically produced goods and services. That is the total goods and services produced within our economy, and their demand is represented by AD. If you think here C plus I plus G, this part, so it is the total demand. It is the total demand for total demand for domestically produced goods and services by domestic players domestic players you can say, or domestic economic agents you can say, or domestic agents you can say. You can say domestic players or you can say domestic agents. Okay, so yes, this part is demanded. NX means it is the net demand by rest of the world. Net demand, okay, complete your line. Net demand for domestically produced goods and services. I'm writing the short form because already I have written the 2 times. For domestically produced goods and services by rest of the world, Rest of the world means ROW. Rest of the world means other than our nations. If you take the whole world, and if you don't consider the our nations, say India, then all other countries combinedly we can say it's the rest of the world. So just you remember, dear, the total aggregate demand is demanded by one part by the domestic players, say domestic consumers, domestic investors, and domestic our government. And one part of domestically produced goods and services is demanded by rest of the world, or you can say foreigners. Okay, so any country if you take, whether it's India or it's any other country, the total demand for that particular country is depending on both the factors. I mean both the things, domestic economy as well as international economy, that is rest of the world, because one part of demand comes from the rest of the world and one part is the domestic demand. So this, from this method which already we discussed with you, you can use this concept in this way also. And aggregate demand, sometimes we are also saying aggregate expenditure, AE. It is also known as aggregate expenditure. So you can say aggregate expenditure or aggregate demand. The same equation we can use for this purpose. Clear? Now, after this, I am going to for small, just basic concept. We don't need to go in depth. Okay, because we are not preparing for the academics, we are preparing for the competitive exams, but something we need to know, because then on the basis of that we can explain, we can give our argument, we can understand the reason behind it. So just a basic concept we need to know about the classical approach and the Keynesian approach. This, okay, and today we are following the Keynesian theory. And from there we can just connect it, yes, today's production, okay, of any country of the world depending on aggregate demand. If there is aggregate demand, then country will produce the output. Okay, if there is a low aggregate demand, low production is there, high aggregate demand, high production is there, then depending on that. So let's just include this concept. So if you think about 1930s, you can say 1930s, but if you just know it's started from 1929 in the world, we faced the Great Depressions. Okay, I will tell you Great Depression means. See, you heard about it. That's a downward trend in the economy, recession in the economy, and depression in the economy. So any time if you think that, or you're getting this information, any economy in this world where aggregate demand started decreasing, production started decreasing, unemployment started increasing, or you can say employment started decreasing, then you can say at this moment, at this point, ki yes, economy is going to downward trend. Fine. And suppose this process continued in any economy, for consecutive or successive 2 quarters means 6 months, okay, then this trend can termed as a recession in that particular country. So recession's word we can only use, okay, for any, I mean this phenomena in any country, if it's a continued for 2 months, okay, then we can say it's a recession is there. That's one of the reasons sometimes you're reading the newspaper, then you are getting that key, these countries, say UK, other country is going to enter, I mean any country you name, that's going to enter on this date in recessions. Who can just decide that this date this country is going to enter to the recessions? It's very difficult to predict which day the country is going to enter to the recessions. But yes, if already this phenomena started happening in a country and that is continuing it and the day is going to complete the 2 quarters, okay, then we can technically we can say recession. So only on this basis they are saying that okay, now country is going to enter in this recession in that. And the worst part of recession is known as depressions. Worst part of recession is known as depressions, where very low aggregate demand, very low output level, very low employment level, means very high unemployment level. So when you're talking about the Great Depressions, and during that time, even take the example of developed country like USA. In that USA, more than 30%, 33% exactly, I mean more than 30% you can say, the unemployment rate was there. So that's the reason that period, and it started in the world in 1929. So whole 30s was the impact under the impact of Great Depressions. Recession, depression, its impact, it's maybe in the decade, it's remain in the decade or a longer period. Take the example of 2008, the whole world faced recessions, and its impact was visible very long time in the world. Okay, very long time in the world. If you take in the world, then 2011 Eurozone crisis, then again recession effect, it's started in India also, okay, and again the pandemic, so it's continued. But yes, we can say now it's due to the pandemic one, but it's continued further. That's the reason we have in 1930s, whole 30s, it's a Great Depression, the impact was observed. If you take this period as a one reference one, so till Great Depressions, most of the country in this world, they were following a theory which is known as the classical theory, or it is also known as the classical economics. Either you can say classical theory or classical economics. Okay, just reference we need. Don't start reading the whole theory and other things. Why? Because we need these things so that we can just connect it. Yeah, Great Depression, classical theory, Keynes theory has already been discussed. Okay, sir, we have completed Great Depression. Okay, fine, dear. That's the reason. Okay, so we completed this part. Leave it. So I think when you are saying we completed this part, so just give me one overview. So classical theory you have seen. Since I got you are just saying fine. Just you send me. Only today I will getting this. Otherwise tomorrow there is no problem. Yeah, thank you. That part we done it. Okay, fine. Okay, so just I am summarizing it because okay. So classical theory, you are knowing that there is a theory was followed on the basis of Say's law of market, and Say's law of market says that supply kits on demand. But in 1930s, this theory failed. There was supply, but there was lack of demand. So James Keynes given his own theory, and the Keynes saying that no, the output is not the production supply is not depending on aggregate demand, but aggregate demand is not depending on aggregate supply. Why? Because supply was there was lack of demand. So they basically again I mean, in 1936, the James Keynes given his own theory. They're saying, output is going to be based on the aggregate demand. Then the concept is coming here. Aggregate demand is going to decide the output. If there is increase in aggregate demand, there is increase in output. And since if you want to produce more output, so you need more labor, so employment will go up. Fall in aggregate demand, fall in output, and fall in employment. So this you have to remember. Okay, this you have to remember. So finally, as I discussed in the last class, your output is depending on what? So aggregate demand, or you can write that aggregate demand is going to decide the level of output, and level of output is going to decide your employment. Fine. Aggregate demand is going to decide. So finally, the economic growth and development depending on Y and employment. So aggregate demand for each and every country is very important. I think that was the last point I discussed. So aggregate demand for a particular country is very important. And after pandemic or during pandemic, you can see that the all country of the world, only one target, maintained aggregate demand. Even in India, the government of India is targeting to maintain the higher aggregate demand. Clear? By increasing more expenditure in infrastructure and other. Why? Because G is the part of that. If there is increase in G, there is increase in aggregate demand, and increase in aggregate demand is going to increase the output and employment. Okay, fine. Infrastructure, I think I have discussed infrastructure because aggregate demand just I discussed with you. Aggregate demand is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. So this part also we completed. We have also completed. If any country is going to increase the investment, then also it is going to increase aggregate demand. That part I have seen your last these things. Okay, and increase in investment is also going to increase the production potentials. Increase in investment is going to increase the production potential in the country. Production potential in the country, clear, is going to increase. I think that was the ending point. Okay, fine. No, just you are saying we ended our class last time with GVA calculation at basic price. Both the parts we completed. This part also and GVA at basic prices we completed. Just I am starting from here. That's basic price we have already basic price and market price also. Production tax minus product tax we added, then you can get the market price, I think. So we ended the new changes made in the new one. Clear here? So national income accounting till here, this part we completed. Now we are coming for the increase monetary system. Check, I think you are again sending me because we are started with of national income accounting that we completed here, ended with basic price we completed, and since you also send me notes where we already just differentiated, yes, we already discussed all this part here. Someone has sent me this one. Please check all of you if it's missing that. If you're getting any problem, you can ask me. But since we completed here till here, so I discussed this again because this concept I need to use it in the whole economic classes, okay? Because we need it. Clear? Now. Clear? So I think एक बार देख लेना. Let me because ADC I have discussed. I plus G plus X minus. So I part I have seen it's I discussed. If you are going to increase I, then your aggregate demand is going up. Okay, the two-way AGD and this one. C, I think consumption stands for consumption. Consumption. and which is written as, we are writing is C. So next part you just conclude it. Then we are going to start today the monetary system, because national income accounting system we completed. So we can get the monetary system today. And aggregate demand and aggregate supply idea, market mechanism, that we completed. Meanwhile you send it, let me complete this. Okay. So consumption here, C, we are saying C is the consumption. So because I we have discussed, so consumption basically remember is the function of Y. Okay. Consumption. And you can write it one line. Okay. All of you please, one line. Consumption is the function of, because we should know about this, then you can relate कि any economy, if income level is going up, then how its increase in income is going to increase aggregate demand. So increase in income is going to increase consumption, and increase in consumption is going to increase the aggregate demand. So please write one line. Consumption is the function of level of income. Consumption is the function of level of income, and it is positively related. Positively related or directly related. Okay. Directly related. Then you write in the functional form, C stands for consumption, Y stands for income. I think already in the class I discussed we are going to represent the overall output in the country and income of the country by Y. Okay. And very starting, if you remember, then we have discussed in your class. Okay, let me one line. I discussed कि Y is the income and consumption, we can write both. So if Y is going to increase, then consumption is going to increase. Saving we have discussed, कि saving is the income which is left after the consumptions. Clear? Now after this, so these all part we have discussed to you dear. ठीक है? उसको आप जाकर revise कर लेना, and please revise it so that you are able to connect this. Now, monetary system, we are going to start. You can write monetary system, or you can say monetary policy. Monetary policy, ठीक है? Okay. Clear here. See the flow chart. Okay, please write this flowchart to all of you. And one question is asked by Ayos. Does Keynesian economics application holds water in front of neoliberal theories of Friedrich von Hayek and Milton Friedman? Which approaches the government following with no significant fiscal stimulus? Okay, current situation is there, but don't go very theoretical way, because generally question is going to be asked in the very, I mean the current issues in the government policies. Take it in the very normal way, explain accordingly. Clear? But otherwise, if we are going in this theoretical part in this much, okay, then we have the time, this one, we are not going to even complete the GS portion because we are preparing for the GS portions. And your question is good, but this for the optional paper, dear. Okay. So other than class, you can just discuss with me. But if these theories, if we start discussing all these things, what you're asking, because they're not going to asking, they are going to ask the empirical based, issue based, what is issue in the country and how government is tackling this, the government policy related to that. ठीक है, तो जीएस में ये क्वेश्चंस अवॉइड करना, जीएस का जो पैटर्न है, जीएस का जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, यू आस्क अकॉर्डिंगली. ठीक है. So now I'm just read this flow chart. Maybe first you understand what I'm trying to explain you. Now the topic we are going to discuss is the monetary policy, or you can say monetary system. I am using this monetary policy to explain you the whole working system in the country. Okay, and not exactly only monetary policy I'm going to deal. I'm also will deal here, and we are going to explain you and connect you how the steps taken by the RBI is going to affect or going to influence all the dimensions, all the part of the country. I am telling you one each by every word I am telling you. Just see, I have written here RBI, fine. I have written here RBI because, okay, and now I am making an arrow. I am just telling you one by one, just you check. And this arrow, after this RBI, we have taken the so many instruments like CRR, cash reserve ratio, SLR, okay, repo rate, it is reverse repo rate, it is the bank rate, it is MSF. MSF stands for marginal standing facility, MSF. SDF, the SDF is the standing deposit facility. Just recently it's started. It's April, it's started SDF. OMO, this 2020, the very first, I mean, they started SDF last year. Today's, I mean, 2023, so you can say the last year. SDF means standing deposit facilities. Next one is OMO, open market operations. So these all are known as monetary policy instruments. These all are known as monetary policy instruments. Monetary policy instruments. These are known as the monetary policy instruments. CRR, cash reserve ratio, SLR, okay, statutory liquidity ratio, repo rate, reverse repo rate, bank rate, MSF, SDF, these all are known as the monetary policy instrument. This circle, I mean, it's not the circle, but I have just made it like this. Okay, this area represents economy. Okay, economy is here. Within economy, we considered all institutions other than RBI. So I kept RBI above than the economy, above than the economy. You understand why? Because it is true that without RBI or without central bank of any country, we can't consider the economy. No, why? Because we can't consider. Why? Because central bank of any economy or any country is the very integral part, But you understand what is our motive? Our motive is to know the stock of money, money supply, how it works, how RBI keeps controlling the liquidity in the country. So our aim is that to know the whole monetary system or monetary policy and their working. For that reason we kept RBI above than the economy. You are getting that? If you include RBI is the part of economy, so any changes we can't observe. So we kept RBI here and economy is here. And within economy, we considered other than RBI, which includes your banks, all the banks you take, other institution you take that involved in the money creation of money or lending process. Public means we are also. Why? Because today it's going to affect. Okay, how it's going to affect, I will tell you, I will explain all the things. So RBI is going to, that's economy you can consider. See, RBI can change any of these monetary policy instruments, and through changing these monetary policy instruments, RBI can do two things. One, see, one arrow is coming from RBI to economy, just you see, one arrow comes from RBI to economy. This arrow represents injection of money. This word you can just remember, injection of money. Injection of money means RBI injecting liquidity in the country. So when money comes from RBI to economy, it represents increase in money supply. MS. MS stands for money supply. I'm writing here. I'm also not getting space, so I'm using other board, but I can come back. MS stands for money supply. MS stands for money supply, and money supply is also known as stock of money. You can also say stock of money means we measure at a point of time, so you can say stock of money, and money itself is known as liquidity. So increase in money supply, you can also say increase in liquidity. Fine, you can say that. Fine here, come back. So if if not, RBI can change the monetary policy instruments and can inject liquidity from the RBI to economy. Whenever you get getting that money comes from RBI to economy, ultimate there is an increase in money supply. So yes, there is increase in liquidity in the country. Fine. Second way you can see one arrow is going from economy to RBI. Just see that this arrow is going from economy to RBI. It means RBI changing the monetary policy instruments in such a way that RBI absorbing the liquidity from the economy. If RBI absorbs the money or liquidity from the economy, the money supply MS, which is going to decrease. Clear? Now tell me, all the part is clear what I've written? See, any words or anything you are not getting it, just flowchart I explained you, not the system I explained you. Flowchart that I have explained you, is it clear to all of you? Or still you are getting problem? Please keep replying me yes and no, so that what you written. Okay. Now I think it's clear to all. Okay. So before going and discussing the whole system, we need some concepts. If we clear some concept, then we can understand the whole system. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get it. Not difficult, but if you're not knowing, then it's you will get some problems to understand. And what is the basic things? The first things we should know about the money. What do you mean by money? Second, what is token money? Third, what is your token money? Full bodied money. Full bodied money. Token money. And you can say fiat money. Fiat money. So at least we should know this four. Okay. So money, you are knowing that money because you are using it as a part of your. Okay, fine. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Any problem you are getting, just send me. But questions you try to put it in the after some class, maybe in the second half. Okay. Because let me to go to some extent, but even you can ask from back because it's already recorded, so I can go back to the previous page and I can connect you. Clear? And try to, and please, maybe someone is from the economics background and you are asking me, no issue, we can explain, we can discuss, but I'm limiting myself, okay, which help you to understand only for the GS purpose, because main aim is the GS purpose. Clear? And where we are taking very light one, okay, that will help you to understand. Okay. So money is what? One line you write, one line. Money may be anything. Yeah, money may be anything. The reason may be anything, the bracket may you write metal or non-metal, or metallic or non-metallic. Okay. Non-metallic or non-metal, you are saying now it includes the digital also. So the way you are writing it, metal means you can just take all the coins, which is basically in the metal form, and non-metal means the paper currency, you can say, and now the digital, it will also come in there. So simply you can write money may be anything, but in the bracket you write metal or non-metal, or metallic or non-metallic. Okay, bracket close, then you write, okay, money may be anything which can act, yes, which can act as medium of exchange, which can act as medium of exchange, okay, which can act as medium of exchange, and acceptable by all individuals of the society. Acceptable by all individuals of the society, or oblique you can put economy, because you know same things but different person saying different. If the social person, social science person, always they are saying society. Economics person, they will always say the economy. If you're asking about the political person, they always say territory. So words are different but concept same. So simply you're saying and acceptable by all individuals of the society or economy. Full stop, right? Acceptability, yeah, right. Acceptability implies it must be issued by competent authority of the country. Yeah, must be issued by competent authority of the country, like RBI in India, okay. That person, that institution must be competent, okay, to do that work. No one can just print it. Even you are knowing, like the PM, Prime Minister, everyone knowing that. But he is not competent, he is not authorized to sign and issue it. Only the RBI governor, they can sign it. Okay, so, and that is only acceptable with us. So you understand two words you have to remember, which can act as medium of exchange and which is acceptable by all individuals of the society. If you're not accepting, so simply it means that money is not issued by competent authority, or any mistakes in security features, any features, what you are doing, you are not accepting it, you are rejecting it, because simply you are knowing that no, it is not issued by the competent authority. So these two words you remember. Yes, the functions of money, yes, you can write the other things like functions of money, what the functions of money. So individually you can write in the points like functions of money. Money can act as medium of exchange, money can act as a store of value, money can act as unit of measurement, okay, money can defer the payment, that all the things you can use, these are come under the functions of money. Even if you want to define money, you can include all the functions, it is also acceptable. But in the very 2 lines you want to write, this much is enough for you. Clear money? What is money? Okay. Now second is the token money. Token money means sometimes when you are word using the token means, okay, suppose I want to buy something, initial amount I given it, we are saying it's a token money. No dear. In economics in subject, token money is the different concept. What is that concept? Let us consider it's a 1 unit of money you are taking it, say it's a 500 rupees note, 500 rupees note. So if you take any currency, any note, 500, 2000, 100, 200, take 500. So the money, the value which is printed on this currency, this value you're talking about 500. This 500 is basically known as face value, is known as face value. This 500 is known as the face value. And the value of this material, the material on which it is printed, a piece of paper, or it's made from the metal one, or it's a piece of paper. So what is the value of this piece of paper? The value of this paper, this material, is known as intrinsic value. Intrinsic value. Okay? Piece of paper, intrinsic value. Fine. So now the money having if you take any piece of paper or any currency, one is you are getting the face value, and one, the value of this material is known as the intrinsic value. When you are getting face value is more than intrinsic value, then it is known as a token money. So token money means given FV means face value, short form you can write FV here, and you write IV means intrinsic value. When you're getting face value is more than IV means intrinsic value, it is known as token money. Simple. It is known as token money. So money you are using, basically the money you are using, the all money, it is in the nature of token money. All money you are using, jitne aap use kar rahe ho, these all are the token money. Why? Because face value is more than intrinsic value. When you are getting this face value is same as intrinsic value. When you are getting this money is known as full bodied money. Anyway, when you are getting the face value is same as the intrinsic value, so it is known as the full bodied money. Clear? So token money is what? When your face value is more than intrinsic value, and full bodied money means when face value is same as intrinsic value. And what is the good example? So good example is your gold coin, silver coin. These all are nature of your full bodied money. These all are nature of full bodied money. Clear? Find here? देख लो, clear करके देख लो. Okay. These all are known as the, clear to all? Token money, full bodied money. ठीक है. Fine. Now you can ask, sir, if there is a intrinsic value is more than the face value, then what will happen? that can't act as a money. No, they can't act as a money. When you are getting intrinsic value is more than the face value, they can't act as a money. They can't act. Reason is that people start misutilizing it. Misutilizing it. So when you are issuing money in the country, you make sure that the face value must be more than the intrinsic value. Okay, take one example. Earlier there was a big size coin, was 1 rupees coin, big size. If you're talking about 25-30 years back, there was a big size coin, 1 rupee coin. It's a bronze metal. Okay, very good quality metal. Okay, it was 1 rupees value. But you are knowing that in the after several decades, due to the inflations, higher inflations, money lost their value. When you are saying yes, one more thing, one concept, value of money. One thing is there, value of money. So when you are saying dear value of money, it simply means purchasing power of money. Purchasing power of money. Simple meaning. When you say value of money, it means purchasing power of money. And purchasing power of money is depending on inflations. Purchasing power of money depending on inflations. And remember, I discussed with you very initial class, inflation is a process of increase in price level or sustained increase in price level. So when you're getting there is a inflation is there, so definitely the purchasing power of money is going to decrease. Say you have 100 rupees and price level in the market is 10. Tomorrow it's going to be 20. So earlier out of 100 rupees you was buying 10 units of goods and services, but now you are only able to buy 5 units when price is 20. So there is increase in the price. Suppose all the goods and services prices you take average price, that is known as the price level. I discussed the very initial one. So when price level is going up, then only we can say inflation. So due to inflation, the value of money keeps decreasing. It means purchasing power of money keeps decreasing. The same things happen. The 1 rupees coin, the bigger size, they lost the purchasing power. And after a few decades, what's happened? Their intrinsic value becomes more than the face value. And face value is deciding on what? That is how much you can buy. So 1 rupees face value remain. But the importance of face value and you compare with the intrinsic value become more than the face value. What's happened? This is out of circulations. Yeah, this currency is money. This coin is out of circulation. Why? Because people started misutilizing it. They started buying from the market, hoarding it, started melting. And after melting, they started making the decorative materials. RBI keeps getting these things. So what's happening? We are just keeps minting and supplying in the market, but there is always shortage of coin. Then they got this news and then, they got it, the issue, and then finally they changed into the bronze to steel. Okay, let us make the low intrinsic value. But again, the same things happen. The bigger size, initially they come with the bigger size of 1 rupee. Okay, but that time again it was misutilized. Why? Because the bigger one size coin, the people started misutilizing. From one coin they are making 3 to 4 savings blade, good quality steel saving blade. They started melting and they started making it, and that was relatively cheaper for the producer. Again, the RBI keeps supplying shortage. Then finally they were there, just come out with the small size. So what you are getting from this example, if anything which you want, it should act as a money, their face value must be higher than the intrinsic value, otherwise they can't act as a money. So money is clear, dear. Value of money concept is clear. Token money is clear. Full bodied money is clear. And if IV, intrinsic value is more than the face value, it can't act as a money. So you have to remember. Okay. Now last one is the fiat money. What is fiat money? So fiat money is basically your legal money. Fiat money, one line you can write, it's a legal money. Write one line, dear, all of you. Fiat money, it means legal money. Okay. It means it's a legal money. Clear? See, fiat means by the order of the government. Fiat means by the order of the government. So all legal money are definitely it's by the order of the government. So fiat money means legal money or legal tender, you can say legal money or legal tender. Fine. E-rupee, you can say that's what the government RBI is just announcing. Government already announced. Okay, and RBI is already preparing this. So e-rupee when it's coming, so definitely it's a what? It's a value if you're talking about. It's e-value. It's e-transaction. So their face value will be much more, but their intrinsic value remain negligible one. Still it's there. So same way it's working. Always it is working. Because it's not in the form of metal or even the paper. So it's a e concept. So definitely the intrinsic value is very, but negligible you can say, zero you can say. But the face value is much higher. Okay. Clear dear? Fine. So next one after this, there is a one concept we have to just think about NDTL. Why I'm telling you, because when we are going to discuss the monetary system, okay, monetary system, then we should know all the things, all the terms like NDTL and other. So NDTL is net demand and time liabilities. Net demand and time liabilities. Net demand and time liabilities. Clear? Now we are going to understand this concept. I'm not going to define you initially, but you please try to get it, clear it. In financial system or in normal also in the economics, there is a two concept we are using. One is known as assets and other is known as liabilities. Assets and liabilities. So how can you understand the assets and liabilities? So these two are the words. Assets, when you can say, suppose, not suppose, you can just understand this. Asset means when you are claiming on something, when you claim, that is your assets. And something which is with you, but it's others claim, then it is known as liabilities. Think about it. You clear or not? Assets means ki suppose, not suppose, suppose you are, you say that no issue, you are claiming on something. If you claim on something, it is your assets. For you, it's assets. Something which is with you, but it's others claims, it is liability for you. Like sometimes you are knowing you are going somewhere, your friends are coming, and suppose it's your own, I mean, you are the owner of this house, but your family house. So you are saying with very force, with confidence, yes, ye mera ghar hai, it's mine one. You are saying that. But suppose you are staying in some PG and some hostel, then saying, yeah, I'm staying here. So you can make the difference. When you have right on something, for you it's asset, and something with you, but it's others claim is a liability. These two words you have to understand in this way. Normal meaning you are knowing that. I'm not going to change that, but you should add another things. And this way you have to see that. Now come to the banks. Suppose bank is here. What is the basic and traditional function of banks? So banks generally accept deposits and lending to the customers or borrowers. These are the very traditional banking business. And one more thing is the banks generally accept the demand deposits. So you understand, first take the example of the IM bank, suppose. So one hand I am receiving the fund and other hand I am lending this fund. This is my traditional business. Now question is that if funds I am receiving from the public, okay, funds I am receiving from the public, so two ways, or depositors, two ways I am receiving. So banks receives fund, one either in the form of demand deposits, or in terms of, second is known as the time deposits, or it is known as term deposit, or it is known as fixed deposit. Just check these three names we are using it. What are these? Time deposits, term deposits, and fixed deposits. Same thing, different names. Same thing, different names. And other is demand deposits. You understand that when we deposit our fund with the banks, so either we can deposit in the form of demand deposits, or we can deposit in the form of time and term, or in the fixed deposit or term deposit. This one. Demand deposits, generally we deposit this money with the bank, money in the form of demand deposits in two ways. One, we are opening account which is known as savings account, and other we are just opening it is the current account here. So it means कि first of all you have to open savings account or you have to open the current account. And in these two accounts, money you are depositing, it is the nature of demand deposits. It's the nature of demand deposits. Now question comes in mind, what is demand deposits? So what itself is explanatory, you know. So first you try to understand the demand deposit. It means the money you deposited with banks with the condition that when I demand, you have to pay me back. When I'm going to demand, you have to pay it back. You can't say no. So that is the meaning, that is the concept of demand deposits. You are depositing this money with banks with the condition that when I'm going to demand, you have to pay it back. That is known as the demand deposits. Clear? So amount you kept under the savings account, yes, when you want your money back, bank will give you back. You deposited your money in the current account, that money when you want, bank has to give it. Now question is, what are these two? Savings accounts, generally it's opened by individual. So savings account for individual you can say, or household you can say, like I and my family members, they are opening the account. These are the nature of savings account. But current account, only it's open in the name of any business or enterprises. Okay, if you're running any enterprises or you're doing any business, so in the name of the business, you can open an account with the bank, that is known as current account. So these two different accounts, one is the individual account like we are opening, and one is the business account or enterprise account which is known as the current account. Take it here. But money you are depositing these two accounts, it is the nature of demand deposits. So yes, banks are receiving money in the form of demand deposits. Clear to all? So demand deposit is written, the money deposited with banks, okay, with the condition that when the depositors demand, bank has to pay it back. Fine here? Now you take the example. Suppose the moment you are opening your account, the bank is giving you ATM card. Okay, but that ATM card you can use it 24/7. Bank is giving you payment. Morning, evening, noon time, night time, when you're going for any ATM, bank is offering you, giving it back. But what's about this? This type of conditions on deposits, it means you deposited your money with banks. Okay, you deposited money with banks with the condition that Okay, I am depositing this money for a fixed time period. Suppose maybe I deposited this money for the 6 months. I deposited money for the 1 year. I deposited this money for the 5 years, 10 years, like this. So when you're depositing any amount of money to banks, and with the condition that for this time period I am depositing this money, so that is known as a fixed deposit, time deposit, term deposit. In this deposit, you and bank is going for an agreement. Here's this money you deposit with the banks for this time period, and for this bank is issuing a certificate which is known as the FD certificate. Okay, FD certificate where everything is written, like this much amount you deposited at this rate of interest you deposited for this time period you deposit. It is your maturity amount, it is your maturity period, everything is written and the official sign it. This money is not accessible to by you. I mean, it's not accessible to you 24/7. You can't this money because this is the terms on these conditional terms you deposited your money. So you basically need that time period, or if you want to get this money, so you have to go to the bank, cancel your agreement, then they are going to cancel the FD, and then this amount they are going to transfer to your bank saving accounts, and then it's going to convert into demand deposits. You can get your money back before your maturity. Even after your maturity, the same process there. So after this discussion, what you are getting here? Any bank, you take the example, they have only two sources to get the funds. Leave the borrowings. They can borrow from the RBI, but that is the borrowings amount. They are not the amount you are getting. Okay. So leave it. So banks having two sources to get funds, or whatever fund bank has, either it will be the demand deposits or it will be the time deposits. Clear? So total amount, or you can say gross amount. Gross means total. Gross amount, I mean the fund, gross fund with the banks, we can say it is the gross demand and time deposits. We can say that. If you take the total amount a bank has, either it will be the demand deposits or it will be the time deposits. So total combined amount is the gross demand and time deposits. Okay? But just I discussed with you, dear, something which is with you but it is others' claim, then for you it is a liabilities. It is known as liability. Think about it. I am bank, I have say money, but this money is deposited by you people. You deposit this money to me. So money which is with me, it's your claims. It means it is my liability to pay you back. So all demand and time deposits with banks are basically liabilities of banks. So we can write the same things as the gross demand and time liabilities. So this liabilities, these deposits is replaced by the liability. Reason is what? All deposits with the banks are liabilities, and the short form we are saying it is a GDTL. देखो. In short form we are saying it's a GDTL. Just check. देखो, clear है? GDTL, gross demand and time liabilities. Fine. Now, then what is NDTL? How can you reach GDTL to NDTL? How can you reach, dear? Asha, one more thing. Since we have considered the liabilities part, take other example, asset part. Suppose I am bank, I lended some amount to you. I lended some amount to you. And the moment I lended to you, from that day, I started claiming to that. I started claiming, okay, this much amount you have to give it back. So I started claiming that. So remember, all loans given by banks to their customers, These all are known as assets of banks. Why? Because suppose I am bank, I given you loan. So loan given by banks is the asset for banks, because the moment the day I given you loan, from that day I started claiming all that. So once it's your claim, for you it's assets. And that's the reason the loan, suppose banks are not receiving any principal amount or any interest amount from that loan amount for next say 90 days as per the bank's rules as 90 days, then this loan amount is considered as non-performing assets. So NPA is nothing but it's a loan basically given by the banks. Yeah, banks given the loan, but banks are not receiving any principal amount or any interest amount. So this loan is what? Assets for the banks. So in place of writing non-performing loan, you can write the non-performing assets just like here. In place of writing the demand and time deposits, you are writing demand and time liabilities. So that's the reason in place of writing the non-performing loan, you can write the non-performing assets. Because loans given by banks, for banks, it is the assets because a claim is there. So that two terms you have to understand in this way. Asset means when you are claiming, liabilities means something which is with you but it's others' claim. Then on the basis of this we are discussing this. Clear, dear? So how can you get from the GDTL to NDTL? How can you go from this to this? One questions you are asked because it's related to that, so let me clear it. One see, few questions you raised like the government security can compare as money. No dear. Government security I will discuss. Maybe I discussed. No. Abhi, that's I'm going to discuss. But you remember, government security is the debt instrument. Debt means DBT wala. That's you always remember. I will pronounce as a debt, but you understand it's a debt. DBT. It's a debt instrument here. It's a debt instrument. So GSEC is known as government security is known as GSEC. क्या है मैं बता दूंगा अभी, just give me time. GSEC is the debt. GSEC of the government is a debt instrument. Why? Because government is borrowing through GSEC. So GSEC is the means through which government borrows. So that can't be money, because money other than coins and 1 rupee note, it is a liability of central bank. It is a liability of central bank. So central bank basically issuing it. I just discussed with you. Fiat money, one more of you asked fiat money. Fiat money means the legal money or legal tender. So how can you say it's a legal tender or legal money? Once it is, or when it is issued by the competent authority. And who is the competent authority? RBI. So government securities is issued by the, basically it's a government of India's things. Yeah, issued by the RBI in behalf of government of India. But that can't act as money. So वो compare मत करना, ठीक है? We can't compare it. And second, you are saying fiat money always it's a legal tender. Yes, fiat money means it's issued by the order of the government. So RBI existence of RBI is what? RBI Act 1934. Okay, it's RBI Act 1934, that existence is due to that. So what RBI can do and what they can't do, everything is defined within in the RBI Act 1934. So they have the right to do that. So basically it's a fiat money means by the order of the government, but does not mean direct order. No. Parliament, the act which is RBI Act 1934, which is given the right to the RBI, now you act according to that. So as far as Indian economy is concerned, RBI is the competent authority. ठीक है, ये आप देख लेना एक बार. And second, you are asking, intrinsic value means cost of production of that money. No dear, cost of production we are not taking it. We are taking the value of the things. like the metal you take in the case of coins, the piece of paper you take in the case of the paper currency, that you take. Forget about the cost of this one. Okay. And next you are asking, fiat money concept is not clear. It's very simple. The money which is issued by the competent authority, that is known as a legal money, and fiat money you are saying it's a legal money. Simply you can say it's a legal money. Okay. And so when both full-bodied money and token money are also fiat money, since they are two are legitimized the government. नहीं दिया यहाँ पर एक चीज चेंज कर लेना. who I don't know, name is not there who is asking. Okay, but remember here, for intrinsic money, for token money, it's a requirement as for money is it must be issued by the competent authority. देखो सोच कर देखना. If let us consider 500 rupees given to you, see, you are also knowing that ki 500 worth is ki we are able to buy goods and services in the economy worth of 500. This power and this confidence or you have, I mean this power of this money is due to what? It is a legal money. Government, RBI authorized, and you have to accept it. Everyone has to accept it. So this 500 rupees you are buying, why, and other are accepting, why? Because it's a legal money. Legal money. And it is only possible if 100% if it is a legal money or fiat money, then only it token money can be considered as a money. थोड़ा सा भी mistake होता है ना, security reasons and other reasons, we are not accepting that. We are not accepting that. So token money can only act money if it is a legal money. But in case of full-bodied money, this requirement is not necessary one. Not necessary. Take the example of PC Jewelers. Take the example of Kalyan Jewelers. Take the example of local jewelers. In each and every state having their own branded, the jewelry shops, or local one you can take. They also sell their gold coin, silver coin, okay, and people are accepting this. If suppose 10 grams of gold, anyone selling at 50,000 rupees, take 50,000 rupees they made the face value, and gold value is also the 10 grams, so weight is 10 grams, so market value is what? 50,000. So due to their intrinsic value, you are accepting that because it's a full-bodied money. What is the face value means how much you are paying depending on the intrinsic value. So using the gold coin, but in that case, anyone can issue it. Even you paste your photo, you signed it, people will accept it. People are not accepting due to the face value, people are accepting due to the intrinsic value. And token money you are accepting due to on the basis of face value. Why? Because it's a legal money. So that things you have to differentiate. For token money, it has to be fiat money or legal money. Then only it is going to act. But in the full-bodied money, people will only see I'm paying 50,000, but I'm getting the metal that is worth of 50,000 in the market. So they're accepting it. These all jewelers are not your legal one. They can't issue the money, but they're issuing the coin, gold coin, silver coin. You can, in the festival times, they are selling it and you are buying it. Even it's not issued by any RBI or company, but you are using it. That is the reason you have to just differentiate. So once you are knowing, dear, you can easily connect it. Okay, you got your answer, dear? Is saving account comes totally under DD or it is partially comes under DD and TD? नहीं dear, देखो यहाँ पर याद रखना. Savings account, the total money which is with the saving account, the whole amount is the demand deposit remain. Until you are not changing the nature. What is the meaning of not changing the nature? Suppose I open the saving account and put 2 lakh rupees in this account. So as long as 2 lakh rupees is there in my account, it is the nature of demand deposits. But suppose I went to the bank, I asked, do one thing. It may say out of this money 1 lakh rupees you make my FD or do the FD. So what the bank is going to do, 1 lakh rupees they will minus it from your savings account, and this 1 lakh rupees they will issue the FD certificate. They put in the fixed deposit. But this 1 lakh rupees will be deducted from your saving account. After deduction, it will not reflect in your saving accounts. The only remaining amount will be 1 lakh rupees. and 1 lakh rupees you is went to the FD, that you can't use it, until unless you are not going to cancel your FD certificate. So this way you have to take, dear. Okay. Sir, NP again please. Nothing, NP देखो, remember one thing, one basic concept. That is the reason I am giving you some instruments to explain one particular topic, some information we need it. And that is the reason before going to the core topic, what are the information you need it, first I am discussing it, so you can better understand and you are able to connect it. Okay. NPA is what you understand. I discussed two concepts, assets and liabilities. Assets means when you are claiming on something, your claims is there, then it is for your asset in this dimensions, from this dimension. If you see, suppose you are a bank and you lended to someone some amount. The day you landed, from that day, a claim, you are started claiming on that amount. Here, this much amount, it is with you, and you have to give it back to me, maybe monthly in EMI form or after 5 months, years, 2 years. But the person or borrower who borrowed this money from you, they have to pay you back. So you are claiming on that. You are the bank, you landed, so you are claiming on that. So since it's your claim, so if your claim, so for you it is your assets. So suppose you landed to someone, as per the definitions you can go, then 90 days, 3 months if you take, suppose the bank lended to someone. So you have to pay every month EMI, interest plus some principal amount. Suppose in 90 days you are not paying any interest and the principal amount, you fail to pay. So that much amount, that loan, the bank defined it's not performing. Not performing in the sense that I am not able to, I am not receiving any part of principal amount, or even I am not receiving any part of interest amount. So the loan is considered, or category is non-performing. Okay, fine. Now, since the loan is your asset, so in place of you can say non-performing loan, you can say non-performing assets. So generally we are using the NPA. So NPA are the loan given by the banks for a particular time period. Banks are not able to receive the interest or principal amount, so you can term this NPA. They were clear? Hai? You can say token again. You are asking the same questions differently, dear. Okay, as per RBI Act 22 of RBI Act, Section 22, RBI is solely empowered to issue currency for our country. So the currencies in terms of either notes or coin. Okay, क्रिप्टो वगैरह आई विल डिस्कस लेटर ऑन, लेट मी कंप्लीट. बट आप वही चीज लिख रहे हो कि अगर लीगल मनी है तो टोकन मनी होगा, कोई जरूरी नहीं है, बट इट्स टोकन मनी. मोस्टली द टोकन मनी आर द लीगल मनी. अगर लीगल मनी नहीं है तो टोकन मनी कैन नॉट एक्ट एज द मनी. सिंपल इन वन लाइन. क्लियर? And RBI section this, if you go and read detail one, so the current coins are basically liabilities of government of India, and 1 rupees note, okay, and 2 rupees note and higher denominations are the liabilities of central bank, that is RBI. So jitne bhi coins you can see in the economy, they are government of India's liabilities, and but RBI in behalf of government of India circulates in the economy. RBI is circulating, RBI is distributing, but it is minted under the government of India. But 2 rupees and above denominated notes, paper notes, are liabilities of central bank. That things you have to remember. And if you 1 rupee note, you can check if you have, then sign will be not the, you will not get signature of the RBI governor, you will get the signature of Secretary, Ministry of Finance. Okay. So that represents it's come under the government of India. It is there. Clear? Find here. So how can you get from GDTL to NDTL? Gross demand, demand and type liabilities to NDTL. Yeah. For that you just add few more concept. One is the universal banking system. And second, you can get multiple banking system. Yeah. Universal banking system, and second you can get multiple banking system. Universal banking system means what? Just I discussed with you I mean, if you think about the bank, so traditional banking business or traditional responsibility of the bank is the accepting the demand deposits and lending to the public or lending to the customers, you can say. And that is the reason still now the post office is not considered as the bank. But we don't know in the future, because already government announced the core banking system they are going for this. But it's still not announced whether the post office is going to give you loan or not. So till they are not doing these functions, we can't term as the bank. Savings post office bank, we have started writing it somewhere. But if you say the true sense of banking business, so there's very unilateral. That is the reason post office, you are depositing, but you can't borrow from the post office. Yeah, borrowing is only allowed in some cases against of your deposited amount from the post office. Suppose you deposited 1 lakh, so few percentage you can borrow if it's necessary. It is allowed. But if you want purely borrow from the post office, which is this facility is not there. But maybe in the future they are going to turn into, but till now not. But if you think about the bank's two basic business is what? One, accepting the demand deposits and lending to the public. Even post office are not accepting your demand deposits. Remember, dear, post office and other institutions, they are not the bank, they are not acting as a bank, they are not accepting the demand deposits. If you go and just borrow your money, which is a significant amount, then even post office can refuse you to pay. They will tell you, sir, jada amount hai, so you need to write later to me before withdrawing. So you have to inform post office, I want this much of money on this date, then only they are arranging fund for you, otherwise they refuse it. You can't do anything. But the bank, if you go and ask your money, bank has to pay it back. If it is it is there in your saving accounts or current accounts, bank has to pay you. Bank can't say no. That is the things of concept of the demand deposits. So traditional business of the bank is what? Accepting the demand deposits, obviously time deposit also, and lending to the public. But nowadays the banks started doing so many business. So under the same roof, if you see the banks, they started doing they started providing you the insurance facilities. They created a platform where you can invest. Take the example of mutual funds the banks are offering. Okay, other consultancy services they started giving you. So what is happening nowadays, under the same roof, banks started offering other services also, other functions also, other than the traditional business of accepting demand deposits and lending you. So this nature of banking system is known as universal banking system, which is there, which is every country has. Multiple banking system means, you understand, when in a country more than one banks are operational, or more than one bank is operating or are operating, so that system is known as the multiple banking system. Okay, fine. Take the example in India, yes, multiple banking system is there. Your SBI is working, PNB is working, okay, ICICI is working. So you can take other banks are working in the country. So we have the multiple banking system. So if you take multiple banking system, then there is always transactions are going on between one bank to other bank. Suppose I have SBI account, I given you 10,000 rupees through check payment. So I am going to give you a check of the SBI bank, and what you are going to do? You are going to deposit this check to your bank, and your bank, suppose it's a PNB bank. So now your PNB bank is going to claim to my bank. So transaction is going on between these two banks. So under the multiple banking system, transaction is going on among the banks. Clear? So at a particular point, when you are closing your account, then you're closing your account, then you have to decide, going to calculate the GDTL and the NDTL. So just you take the example, and why NDTL concept is important, that's you have to get it. NDTL is important. When you are saying CRR, why I'm discussing it, the reason behind it, when you are saying
CRR in India is right now 4.5%. SLR is your 18%. You keep change because it keeps changing it. 18%. So when you are saying 4.5% is the CRR, 4.5% of what? So here 18% you are saying, so 18% of what? So 4.5% or 18% basically based on NDTL. It's a 4.5% of NDTL or 18% of NDTL. So we should know about the NDTL concept. That's the reason we are trying to clear your concept. Okay. So suppose a bank you can take, it is the SBI bank. Suppose it's SBI bank, and in SBI bank GDTL is your say 100 rupee. Total amount of deposits with the SBI bank is 100 rupees. So 100 you can say it's a GDTL, gross demand and time liabilities. But due to interbanking transactions, other bank which is here PNB. So PNB also received some rupees, say 100 rupees, or say PNB having the 110 rupees as a GDTL, So what, and out of this 110, 10 rupees it is with the bank SBI. 10 rupees amount, it is with the SBI, but it's a deposit and claim of the PNB, Punjab National Bank, with this SBI bank. Clear? So when SBI is going to take all the deposits, 100 rupees, so it is the GDTL. But interbanking transactions, if suppose other banks claim or deposit, it is 10 rupees with the SBI. Then 10 rupees, if you deduct other banks, then 90 rupees is left, and this 90 rupees is known as NDTL. Check. Because once you are getting, everywhere you are getting, and the PT it was asked, no? PT में देखना 2-3 साल पहले जा करके, so NDTL this concept was asked. Check NDTL and GDTL, is it clear? ठीक dear. चेक कर लेना आप लोग. Concept is clear? GDTL and NDTL. So each and every bank has to calculate NDTL first. Okay, has to calculate NDTL, and then on the basis of NDTL they have to maintain CRR and SLR. They are not going to decide or calculate CRR and SLR on the basis of GDTL. Why? Because simple in one line, if all banks are going to calculate on the basis of GDTL, then there will be double counting problem. There will be double counting issue. Okay, there will be double counting problem or double counting issue if they are going to estimate and calculate GDTL on the basis of GDTL. Why? Because just you understand, this 10 rupees is there in the PNB. Let us consider SBI's claim is not there. Let us consider. So 110 is the total deposit and net deposit, because if PNB bank has no other bank's deposit, so GDTL and NDTL are going to be the same. So PNB also maintained CRR and SLR on the basis of 110, because first it is reflecting the deposit of PNB. Out of this 10 rupees, it's come to the SBI. So on 10 rupees, PNB is also maintaining CRR and SLR, and SBI is also maintaining on that. So due to avoid this double counting problem, each and every bank, first they have to calculate NDTL, net demand and time liabilities. Then on the basis of NDTL, they can maintain CRR and SLR. So CRR and SLR, whatever percentage you can see, 4.5%, SLR you can just see 18%. So 18% of NDTL, 4.5% of NDTL, like this. देखो क्लियर है? check dear. Okay. So, three of you asked, sir, discuss in detail once again. Repeat it. Not getting. Fine. देखो simple याद रखना. You get it very simple way dear. First of all, you always keep in your mind this subject is very simple, very interesting, and it's not tougher than you. It can't be. Not a single subject. Once you deciding, I will do. You can do that. So you take is very simple. Go very step by step. You will not get any problem. See why I discussed with you the multiple banking system. Because multiple banking system will give you one concept. If in any country of this world, if has the multiple banking system, then interbanking transactions must be there, or it must happen. One bank is depositing other banks, other deposits coming to other banks. Interbanking transactions keeps going on. Even sometimes, you know, the bank, suppose I have money and I'm not able to lend for few months, I can deposit to other banks in name of my bank to get at least on some amount. So many things you can take it. Here there is an interbanking transaction process is going on. One bank's money, it is with the other bank's money with this bank, like this. In this scenario, in these situations, suppose a bank like SBI we have considered here. Suppose SBI has total deposits of 100 rupees, total deposit of 100 rupees. It may be in the form of demand deposits or it may be in the form of time deposits, but total deposits with SBI is 100 rupees. So it is normally, it is known as GDTL, gross demand and time liabilities. Fine, total we are taking. But if you consider and take all the deposits, if you are getting rupees 10 is the deposit of not the public, but it's a deposit of other bank. So other bank or your bank, this is a part of the system. This is a part of the system which is known as the banking system. So under banking system, if interbanking transaction is going on, that amount you will not consider when you're going to decide your CRR or SLR. So if 100 is your GDTL, gross demand and time liabilities, and 10 rupees is other banks deposits, then this 10 rupees you have to subtract from GDTL. And the moment you are subtracting from GDTL, then left amount is 90 rupees, and 90 rupees is known as NDTL, net demand and time liabilities. So simply you can say that NDTL, which is net demand and time liabilities, is GDTL minus interbanking transactions with that bank. Whatever deposit it is, the interbanking deposits, that much amount that particular bank has to subtract. So if suppose other banks deposits, it is with me the 10 rupees, so 10 rupees I will deduct it out of the total deposits. So left amount is known as NDTL. देखो clear है here? Check all of you, clear or still you have a doubt? Check dear please, because your answer in yes is very important for me. Okay, otherwise we keeps accumulating this issue. The same thing I am telling you, if the SBI total amount is 100, PNB suppose out of whatever deposit it is with the PNB, out of that if 10 rupees is reflecting in SBI's deposited due to any means, due to any reasons. But this 10 rupees is not the public's claim, no? It is the other bank's claim. So interbanking transaction, any amount is there that you have to subtract to get the NDTL, net demand and time liabilities. and this amount 90 rupees on the, that is NDTL, and all your CRR, SLR you have to estimate and calculate on the basis of NDTL. That's the concept of NDTL you have. Clear idea? Fine. And after that, since we are going for monetary policy, I think, is it clear to all of you? One more concept we need, but before that, I mean, we are going to add one. Monetary policy, when you are talking about monetary policy, so if you go back to the last class, just overview all the class, then you can get it ki suppose RBI is here, and if RBI is going to increase, suppose is decreasing the, RBI is decreasing the CRR, or you can say repo rate. Suppose RBI is decreasing it. So fall in CRR, what is CRR repo rate? I am going to discuss, but before that, individually, let us get an idea, overall idea. Thank you to writing clear sir and got it sir. Okay. At least that I want from you, clear. And when you are getting there, please try to write 2-3 lines always. So always sit in my class with pen and notebook. What you are getting, please put in your language. Some things I am going to dictate, but most of the things, the moment you are getting, put in 2-3 lines and write it and keeps revising it. Clear? So suppose RBI is going to decrease CRR and repo rate. First, let us discuss the framework, then one by one I will go within the framework. If RBI is decreasing it, okay, suppose RBI is decreasing, already I written the decreasing CRR or repo rate, it is going to increase liquidity in the country, that is going to increase the money supply in the country. Clear? Definitely it is going to increase the liquidity and money supply in the country. Okay. If liquidity or money supply is going up, so how it is going to affect the overall liquidity and just I will tell you what is the level counting problem. Just wait, just get it first. So money supply will go up. Let us consider you are a bank. Normal you take first. I am not going to the external benchmark based lending rate, what is going on today. Leave it, just normal you understand. Suppose you are a bank and you have 10,000 crores for lending purpose. And suppose market rate of interest is going on around say 10%. And you are knowing that at 10%, the total demand for fund is also 10,000 crores. So what is happening at 10%, supply is 10,000 crores and demand is also 10,000 crores. So you are meeting this. And you are knowing that where supply of the product is a supply of anything, product, services, fund, if supply is equal to demand, market is at equilibrium. And I already explained you market mechanism, law of demand, law of supply. This market mechanism I think I completed you. Okay, how the market works, this part I think I explained you. Okay, so please revise that. And so suppose market is at equilibrium, and this equilibrium in this market, this loan market you can say, is at 10%. So banks are knowing at 10%, 10,000 crores I want to lend, and 10,000 crores it is in the demand in the market. But suppose due to the RBI monetary policy, RBI cut down the CRR or RBI cut down the repo rates. So what's happened? There is a more liquidity with the banks. And how it's a more liquidity, when I will discuss the repo rate, then I will tell you how it works and why the banks having the more liquidity. So if banks getting more liquidity for lending purpose, but they are knowing at 10% only demand is 10,000 crores. Suppose the banks want to give you additional 2,000 crores lending to the public, but the demand is only 10,000 crores. So here banks having the excess amount of fund that banks wants to lend it, but that much of borrowers are not there in the market. So what the banks will do is, suppose you are a bank, what you are going to do? So simply you are going to cut down the lending rate. Simply you are going to cut down the lending rate. Why you want to cut down the lending rate? Because you are knowing that if I am going to cut down the lending rate, I may get more borrowers. I may get more borrowers. If more borrowers, if I am getting, then only I am able to lend all my amount. If you go to the, just see the 2016 when demonetization happened in the country, what's happened? All people in this country, they deposited their money with the banks. Even without changing the policy rates by the RBI, banks offered that time at low rate of interest, your personal loan, your housing loan, your car loan. Why banks wanted, banks started, they offered at the low rate of interest. Why? Because banking system had the more liquidity. But that much demand was not in the market, even demand declined due to demonetizations. But bank wanted to lend it more. They cut down the lending rate. So it's a simple market mechanism, you understand here, and that concept you can use in everywhere. Whenever in the market, if supply is going to increase in compared to demand, the price of that product is going to fall. And if demand is more than the supply, the price of that product is going up. But in the banking system, here product is what? Fund. So there is supply of fund and demand for fund. So whenever supply of fund is going to increase, means more liquidity, more money supply in the economy, finally the lending rate, which is I am saying the lending rate or market rate of interest, is going to decrease. I think you are knowing that I discussed with you overall there are three types of rate of interest concept we are using in the economy. You remember that? Market rate of interest or lending rate of interest, deposit rates or savings rate, or policy rates. These three we discussed in the class. We discussed all the three types of rate of interest in the class, dear. Check please. We have discussed or not? Please reply, dear. Three types of rate of interest I mentioned in the class or not? One is the market rate of interest or lending rate of interest, deposit rate of interest or saving rate of interest, these two. Third one is the policy rates. What do you mean by the policy rates? Check and reply it, then accordingly I will do. Yes sir, I did. Okay, fine, thank you. So here I is known as market rate of interest or lending rate of interest, means it is the rate of interest at which banks lend to their customers. And policy rates means what? The rate of interest at which RBI lend to the banks. Okay, deposit means the rate of interest which is offered by or given by the banks on deposited amounts of customers. Okay, so lending rate is going to fall. What you learned it in the previous class that I discussed, investment is the function of rate of interest. I remember that part I discussed. Investment is the function of rate of interest. So your investment is going up. An increase in investment is going to increase aggregate demand as per the Classing and Keynes I have discussed. An increase in aggregate demand is going to increase the output or income. An increase in output and income is going to increase the employment. Maybe I discussed earlier, but again I am repeating it because this concept I need it. So what you are getting? RBI, the act of RBI is not going to confine to a particular sector only. No dear. RBI decisions is going to influence all part of the country. All macroeconomics variables are going to change, maybe directly, maybe indirectly, maybe higher, maybe very negligible, but yes, it will affect, maybe in the short term, maybe in the long term. But yes, directly or indirectly it is going there. Check here. RBI changed the CRR and repo rate. It's affected the liquidity or lending rate. And you know that investment is the function of inverse relationship in the rate of interest. Investment is the function of lending rate or market rate of interest, and which is inversely related. That I have discussed this thing. I think investment function I have discussed, na? Investment function, that is autonomous investment. Yeah, I think I discussed autonomous induced investment is a function of rate of interest. That part of it. From there you can just connect it. Okay, there is a fall in lending rate, there is increase in investment. And investment is a component of aggregate demand. So aggregate demand is going up. And what you learn in the Keynesian, that is the reason. You don't need to write the Keynesian always in your answer. You keep in your mind, yes, it is working in this way. So increase in your aggregate demand, that definitely to meet higher aggregate demand, you have to produce more. So output is going up. And to produce more output, definitely you need more employment, more labor. So when you are hiring more labor, employment is going to increase. So see, all macroeconomics variables are going to increase. Demand has increased, output has increased, employment has increased, investment is increased. Yeah, they can affect this. It's a positive part. That is the role of the RBI. I mean, the monetary policy, you can see, that's they want. But always it is not true your economy can work in this way. No, always it is not true. Sometimes what is happening, economy can go in the different way around, different way. Like you take the example of our home, we are two brothers or two sisters or one brother, one sister. Observe your personal behavior. Even we are getting the same environment, when same teaching, everything is same. Even sometimes uniforms are also same. But behavior may differ from one person to other. If you take the example of economy, so if money supply has increased, and increase in money supply, if increase consumptions, only consumptions, and those items it is going to increase much more, okay, which are already in demand in the economy, but economy is not able to meet the supply. So aggregate demand is going up, and increase in aggregate demand there, but suppose the economy is not able to meet the demand, which is going to create the excess demand in the economy. And this excess demand leads to it will create higher inflation in the country. This is the adverse impact. So if you keeps increasing more and more money supply, it is not necessary that it can only bring all the positive things in the country. It may adversely work in the country through higher inflations. That is the reasons. When you are controlling your money supply, being the RBI or being the authority, now RBI we can't say today, it is MPC, Monetary Policy Committee, who decide the policy rates. I will connect you one step by step. So always it is not necessary keeps increasing more money supply. Okay, so you have to balance these two and get the balance path. Clear, dear? So please, and I request all of you, meanwhile, since I am my number is already connected with your chat one, so I request you please summarize what the topics we already covered you. Okay, so remaining I will focus on that. Like I know this part is not covered, so I started this part, but you please send it once, and we are meeting around 2 o'clock. Okay, thank you, dear.